Welcome to this edition of Labor Vision. I'm Bob Delaney, Executive Director of the Institute for Labor Studies and Research. Labor Vision, a production of the Institute, focuses on topics of importance to working Rhode Island families. We hope you enjoy this evening's edition.
First, welcome everyone to North Providence. It's a great day for education, as we see it. And I thought it would be just an appropriate location to ask all of our voters in the state of Rhode Island to support this $250 million bond issue. So I want to welcome Governor Raimondo, President Ruggerio, Finance Director Seth, our Council President Dina Ordiello. I thought I saw Senator Goodwin here. Senator, on the first, welcome everyone, thank you. Mike Sabatoni, representing all of the construction workers. So I asked one of the representatives of one of the unions, everyone working? He said, we need more. And I also want to welcome this organization, Fix Our Schools, for choosing to come to North Providence so that we can impress upon all of our state voters to support this $250 million school bond on November 6th. Here in North Providence, we would like to think that we were ahead of the curve. When we asked our taxpayers 2 years ago to approve a $75 million bond. At that time, I was also running for re-election and advised that it might not be in my best interest to get involved. This could hurt my chances for re-election. I knew different. This was for our future, for our education, for our students, and for our community. So I call this project, Project 75. Bless you. When the election was over, I received 75% of the vote. This project received 75% of approval. And it was for a $75 million bond. And the result of that is what you see here, right in back of me. So today, it gives me great pleasure to ask you and all of those that will be viewing this or reading about this tomorrow, the taxpayers in the state of Rhode Island, to support this $250 million bond, which is the best for our state's future, and especially the best for the future of education in the state of Rhode Island. Now I would like to introduce Janine Napolitano, a 23-year veteran educator here in North Providence, and a recipient, by the way, of what I call the Grammy Award of Education, the National Milken Award. And she is also the principal of this school, has been the principal of this school for the last 5 years. Janine, please.
Good afternoon. So this state-of-the-art school that you see standing behind me, and one similar to it down Mineral Spring Avenue, which is McGuire, is a symbol really of a community's commitment to their children. And fortunately, our community voted overwhelmingly to support the bond that built these two beautiful new schools, and that will equip our children with the tools they need to receive a 21st century education. We are so appreciative of the collective efforts and commitment of the town and school department for making our new schools a priority. Our elected officials worked hard to make this vision a reality. And like the mayor said, North Providence can be viewed as a leader in this area in the upgrading of our schools, and we are very proud of that. So, like the mayor said, I have been principal for 5 years here at Stephen Olney, and I can speak firsthand to the conditions under which our students and teachers have had to work for many, many years. I can share with you that during rainstorms, snowstorms, I would be up a great portion of the night, during the night, worried about the next day because I knew the condition that the roof was in. And I was worried that we wouldn't have enough buckets to catch the leaks coming from the ceiling. And the truth is that all kids and educators deserve better, and that our learning environments should be safe and clean and up to state and federal code. Studies do show a clear connection between student achievement and updated facilities. How can we expect children and teachers to meet rigorous educational standards under deplorable conditions? Well, we don't need to ask that question anymore. As a state, we have an opportunity now to impact future generations of teaching and learning by approving that bond, just like the voters and the elected officials in North Providence did. By doing so, we are making a commitment to the future of education in our state under the leadership of Governor Raimondo. Governor, we applaud your efforts in bringing education to the forefront. It is long overdue. And by providing the voters an opportunity to have a voice in the future of education in the state of Rhode Island. It gives me great honor and pleasure to introduce to you Governor Raimondo.
Thank you, Janine, and thank you for your service and for all that you do as a teacher here and as a principal. So I think this is a fantastic day, and to the people of Rhode Island, I say vote yes on one. If we get no other message out from this rally, it's vote yes on one. Because it's the best investment we can make in our future and in our kids for generations to come. I want to thank Mayor Lombardi for hosting us today and also salute you for your leadership. You are ahead of the curve, and your teachers and kids and residents will benefit from it, so thank you. I think it's related that you had the guts to put this forth, that you won with 75% of the vote. I think that's why it happened. I also want to recognize my colleagues in government, the treasurer and the Senate president, without whom this would not be possible. The treasurer designed it, and the Senate president got it through the Senate, along with his colleague, the whip, Senator Mary Ellen Goodwin, who's a great friend of mine and a doer, council president here in North Providence. Great to see you, Dino, and thank you for all you do. And I know we have a lot of school committee members here from school committees all over the state, and I appreciate you very much for being here and coming. The reality is, our kids deserve this. Every kid in Rhode Island deserves to go to a school that's warm, safe, and dry. Period. No exceptions. I don't care if you live in Central Falls or Barrington or East Greenwich or Pawtucket. You deserve a school that's warm, safe, and dry. Yesterday, they sent the kids home in Tiverton because kids were getting sick from conditions in the school. We've seen it. We see it everywhere. I've been to schools in East Greenwich where the gymnasium, the ceiling in the gymnasium fell down, crashed down in gym class. and thank God no kids were under it. Cranston East was closed for almost a week in the winter when it was bad weather. I just mentioned Tiverton, Newport, Rogers High School. It's everywhere. This is in every single city in town, and every kid deserves the opportunity for a top quality school. Yesterday I was in Pawtucket at Nathaniel Green, and it was a beautiful sight. 2 years ago, Nathaniel Green was falling apart. Today, it's beautiful. It's new. They have science and technology equipment. Teachers here are going to love this. The locks on the doors actually work. Every single one of them. The intercom system works in every single classroom. You know how many teachers I've talked to who say to me, Governor, I'm afraid. Sometimes the intercom doesn't work in my classroom. Sometimes the doors don't lock in my classroom. Teachers deserve better. They deserve a working environment that's warm, safe, and dry. They deserve light to come in from new windows, and windows that actually lock and work. And all these guys in hard hats, you deserve an opportunity for a job to build these schools. So, to my mind, this is a win-win. We got this on the ballot because of a broad coalition. I want to thank members of labor who are here. I want to thank the teachers and the union officials who are here and the legislators. It took a broad coalition, Fix Our Schools people, to get it on the ballot through the legislature. And now we have to get it over the finish line in November. So vote yes on one. Last thing I'll say is this. Massachusetts has done 7 statewide school bonds in the past 10 years. This is our first one in 25 years. Our kids, our teachers, our parents have waited too long. Let's make it happen. Let's go big, and let's make sure every kid in Rhode Island has a chance. Thank you.
So I would also ask our President, Ruggerio, who is, represents this neighborhood in the Senate. I thought it would be appropriate. Don, did you go to the school?
McGuire.
Oh, you went to McGuire. That was, so let me just add a little humor to this. You went to McGuire. That was,
A couple of years ago.
yeah, it was, not only that, it was a little nicer neighborhood. But in any case, President Ruggerio, thanks.
Thank you, Mayor. It reminds me of something Senator Goodwin said to me earlier. I told her that my former elementary school was demolished, and she said, "What, that one-room classroom?" So I'm old, but not that old. I want to thank everyone for being here today, because this is a very important issue. Question 1 is question 1 for a reason, because that's how it was designed by the Senate, who's been working on this legislation for the past couple of years in conjunction with the treasurer and with the governor. And we feel it's very important. Obviously, we need much more money for improvement of our schools than the $250 million bond referendum that's going to be on the ballot this year. However, let's walk before we run. It's a great step in the right direction, and I want to commend the leadership in the town of North Providence for taking the initiative to start this particular program and to address the conditions that are prevalent in our schools, not only in North Providence but throughout the state. So I want to commend the Lombardi administration, the council led by Council President Ordiello, the school committee who's done a great job, and I think this is going to be a great thing for North Providence. So, a quality education is a transformative situation for many students, and it provides an opportunity for all, helping close achievement gaps, and it lays the foundation of lifelong success. Entrepreneurs, when they come to locate their business where they find a qualified workforce, and they want to raise their families where their own children will be well educated. There's no more important investment than investing in our schools. Obviously, we're trying to get into the 21st century. I'm not sure if we're in the 20th century still, but I think that this is going to be a great springboard and to allow us to move along and to fix a lot of our schools. Obviously, our schools are over 6 decades old, and their conditions are totally deplorable. I can't imagine how difficult it must be when you're in school and you don't have any heat, or the roof is caving in, or it's flooding. Those are not the conditions that I went to school under, and I'm certainly not going to look to continue to impose those conditions upon the students of today. I want to commend Treasurer Magaziner because he has taken the initiative on this particular situation, but I also want to mention a couple of my colleagues in the Senate who were very instrumental on this particular issue. Senator Goodwin, who was here earlier, she has been involved in this particular issue along with Senator McCaffrey, but also Senator Hannah Gallo, who is the chairwoman of our Senate Committee on Education. And also Senator Bill Conley, who was our Senate Finance Committee. So I didn't want to be remiss and forget those individuals because they did a substantial amount of work on this particular issue. In North Providence, we're making investments in our schools, and I'm hoping that statewide, with an estimated $2.5 billion needed for school repairs, that we have additional referendums in the near future to address this particular situation. This school is scheduled to open in September of 2019, and it will be a state-of-the-art school building. And I want to once again commend everyone involved in this particular situation. This is not a partisan issue. There's no ideological divide on this particular issue. This affects everyone, regardless of what and whose political party is involved. Our children deserve the highest quality education in safe modern schools, and I encourage all Rhode Islanders to vote yes on question number 1. Thank you very much for your time and attention and for your support. Thank you.
Now I'd like to ask Treasurer Magaziner to say a few words. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, everybody, for coming out today. I'm standing here today not just as the treasurer, but as a former teacher myself. I started my career as a public school teacher. I taught in an old building that was falling apart, where we had asbestos and we had lead and we had an HVAC system that never seemed to work the way it was supposed to. And I saw firsthand the impact that has on the ability of teachers to teach and students to learn. I taught young kids, 3rd graders, 4th graders, and even at that age, when they're going to school every day in a building that is falling apart, where there's rain coming through the ceilings, they know what that means. Even at a young age, they know that means that the adults in their community have not made them a priority. But now, here in Rhode Island, finally, we have an opportunity to do something about it. We are going to build schools that are safe, that are warm, that are dry, and that are equipped to teach people, young people, the lessons that they need to succeed in the modern economy. This is an investment in the future of our workforce. We have high schools in Rhode Island today that do not have functioning science labs. They have rooms where science is taught, but that's not the same thing as a real science lab with the gas and the water and the hoods and all that. At a time when we're working hard, and the governor's working especially hard to recruit high-tech companies to move to Rhode Island and expand in Rhode Island, we have kids graduating high school without ever seeing the inside of a science lab. That's crazy. The governor and I had a forum with a group of teachers in West Warwick as part of this process. And one of the teachers raised his hand and said, now that we have computer science in our schools, all of my 6th graders have laptops that were donated, which is great. But I've got 30 6th graders with laptops and my classroom only has one electrical outlet. Because the schools are not keeping up with the kind of teaching and the kind of learning that is expected of teachers and students today. So this is an investment in the future of our economy so that we can transition to the 21st century and set our young people up to succeed in the jobs of the future. This is a statewide problem. Over the past year, as part of this process, I've personally visited 50, 60 schools in cities and towns all across the state. And it is absolutely true. Every school district in Rhode Island has at least one building that needs a significant amount of work to get up to par, and we were careful to design this program to ensure that proceeds from the bond will be available to every single community, because the need exists statewide, so the solution has to be a statewide solution. I can tell you that not only can we afford to make this investment, we can't afford not to. The longer we wait to fix these buildings, the more expensive it's going to be. So we should do it now. We should do it now because it's the right thing to do for our kids, for our teachers, and because it is the financially smart thing to do. So it's been just over a year since we started this process. It started with the governor, who through her leadership decided that this was going to be the priority in state government this year. She established the school building task force to come up with a plan. I was honored to have a role in that task force along with some other people who are here today, like Frank Flynn and Larry Purtle and Mike Sabatoni. Thank you all for your work. She put it in her budget. It went to the General Assembly, where our leaders in the Assembly, most notably our Senate President, made it a priority. And now, a year later, it's in the hands of the people at home. The people who are watching this, the people who are going to be reading about this, it's in your hands now. You have the opportunity to vote yes on question 1 so that our kids can have safe schools, so that they can be set up to succeed in the jobs of the 21st century, and so we can put a lot of tradesmen and women to work in the process. It is in your hands. This is the final step. So we're asking everybody across the state of Rhode Island, go to vote a week from Tuesday and vote yes on question 1. Thank you.
Before I introduce the next speaker, I would be remiss if I did not thank the Gilbane Building Company for a job well done. They've done a great job here. And all other employees, construction workers, for what they've done here. We're on budget and we're on time. What's better than that? Thank you again. So we have a parent that's with us today, Andrew Arsenault, that we'd like to hear from. Andrew, thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Andrew Arsenault, and I have a son in 7th grade at Warwick Vets Junior High School, and I support the $250 million school construction bond. For too many years, I have seen schools with sun-baked windows you can't see out of, old lockers that don't work, and inefficient heating systems that are always too hot or too cold. We want our children to be in schools with clean water to drink and safe air to breathe, but just wanting those things isn't enough. Intentions do not equal impact. This November, we have a chance to turn those intentions into real impact by voting yes on question 1. I know we want our students to sit in classrooms without drafts coming in from windows. These are good intentions, and question 1 will help us make real impact. We want modern science labs, classrooms full of natural light, and spaces that are inviting. These are good intentions, and question 1 will finally help us make a real impact. A good school district consists of great teachers, PTAs, coaches, and community. Let's give them the tools to do the job and the safe buildings to do it in. Let's give them buildings they can be proud of. Let's help our children rise to their full potential by coming together to fix our schools. Our future leaders are counting on us, so let's turn these intentions into real impact by voting yes on question 1. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrew. So we also have the pleasure today of Emma Boucher being with us. Emma's a student at Cranston High School East, and I think think Emma is going to enlighten us also as to how important this bond issue is. Emma?
Good afternoon. My name is Emma Boucher, and I am a senior at Cranston High School East. I chose to be a part of this diverse and inspiring public school community, and I am proud to have done so. Before entering my freshman year, I looked into attending a private high school. I asked multiple people how my experience would differ, and the responses were all similar. The teachers at private and public schools will be equally smart and dedicated. My chances of getting admitted to college would remain the same, and I would learn roughly the same things in both settings. The one difference, however, would be my resources. After 4 years of attending Cranston East, I can confirm this theory. I take engaging classes. I am involved in the many extracurricular opportunities East has to offer. I have made wonderful friends, and I have developed close relationships with my teachers. However, I also missed time during my 4 years, including over a week of school last year, due to infrastructure issues in the building. Cranston East is a Title I school. Some of my peers wonder when they will receive their next meal, or how long they will be able to live in their current home. We have been told all our lives that education will provide us with opportunity, so show us that you mean it. It's time to spend our money on what we value. And if we value education as the great equalizer, let's do everything in our power to give kids a leg up. It's time for my generation to have the resources we need to succeed. It's time to improve the infrastructure in our schools. Vote yes on question 1, because it's time to prove that an investment in our kids is worth it. Thank you.
So again, I want to thank everyone for coming here today. And please, talk to your friends. We need your support for this very, very important bond issue. It's for our future. It's basically for the salvation of our education. You see what's happening here? This can happen in many other districts. So I think we're scheduled for maybe a September 19 opening here. So let me, officially invite each and every one of you to the ribbon cutting in September to the new Stephen Olney School. With that, thank you very, very much for coming to the town of Providence. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for this edition of Labor Vision. We appreciate your input and encourage your comments. Labor Vision can be seen on this channel 3 times each week: Tuesday at 7 p.m., Thursday at 8 p.m., and Saturday at 5 p.m.